Hello, everyone. Welcome to Three Martini Lunch, a national virtual networking event. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, and the Rockstar Connect family is very excited about that. That is a holiday that we celebrate, COVID or not. Of course, we're going to be doing it at home here with 10 people or less. And we're going to be doing a Friends Thanksgiving with some of the Rockstar Connect people here in Thanksgiving the week before Thanksgiving. So we're excited about that as well. Some of the successes that Rockstar Connect has had. We had two great events last week. One was at the Marriott Hotel. We had about 50 attendees at this event. Everyone was wearing masks, socially distanced. We had a magician was there, and we had people signing books, and they had a great spread of food for everyone that attended the event. Jenny was there. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was a great time. We got biscuits.
You got biscuits, yeah, from the Great Biscuit Company. They dropped off biscuits.
Raleigh Biscuit Company, let me tell you.
We had a lot of new people there. I mean, it's not an event that I normally go to. It's the RTP event, which is Research Triangle Park. And I got to tell you, I have to go to more of the local events because the amount of people I met, but also the business that translated into real dollars at the event was incredible. I said, wow, if just going and spending 2 hours there, I probably made somewhere between $10,000 and $30,000 worth of connections. Jenny, did you do that well too?
Not that well, but I got some appointments.
Great.
I mean, my business is a little bit, I'm not slinging houses. Slinging branding
wasn't
doesn't net the same.
4 or 5 different things that we do. So there was nothing housing oriented that happened there, but a couple other things that we do.
Yeah. But it's really about the connections, right?
Yeah, making meaningful connections. Everything else happened accordingly. Jenny, so what type of appointments did you make at the event?
I have actually one was with another photographer who is in a different niche than me, and his wife is starting sign, like what those yard signs that have been like becoming more and more popular through COVID. And so we're going to meet and talk about how we can pass business between each other, like when he gets inquiries for stuff that I do and vice versa, and see if we can create a strategic partnership there, and who I can introduce him to that may benefit from the sign thing, because it would be a really cool thing for like real estate closing gifts, to tie in, like you have a welcome home sign and then
or we're leaving.
Or peace out, right? Like and then have like a portrait taken of it.
That's Aaron Lurie. He's been threatening to come to a Rockstar Connect event now for about 5 years. He finally made it to one, and I think it was extremely valuable for him. Adam, I think you might know Aaron from the South Florida area, who's a big event photographer down there.
VMA Studios, yeah.
VMA Studios. He's up in North Carolina now, trapped up with us in our little area.
Yeah.
It feels like everyone's trapped in their little pockets around the country. We're all little mini countries now.
Yeah. And we also snagged some new podcast guests. So I'm excited about that.
Great. So I just heard about this podcast thing that everybody's doing. Just kidding. I've heard about them before. But they're getting really popular. They're getting super popular because people are not watching as much, I guess, regular broadcast TV anymore. They want to speak to people a little bit closer to what's going on in the world and what they're interested in. Jenny, before we jump into your successes, it's been a while since people have heard what does your business do exactly?
Yeah, I'm a digital content specialist. I help my clients get seen and stay seen by their target clients and customers on in the digital space, so websites, social media. And I do that by teaching them how to create content that sells without being salesy. And so what that means is it's how to put yourself out there and leverage your personal brand so that people get to know, like, and trust you through, and I'm also a brand and marketing photographer. So I do it through storytelling images, as well as teaching you my stories and strategy system that helps you figure out what all the algorithms mean and why words matter and how many words you use and how you put them together.
Does it almost become like a story or a magazine because there's now because in Facebook, people create those stories
Mm-hmm.
and they're somewhat connected to one another.
Mm-hmm.
When you're saying story, is that one of the ways you're helping them?
It's, it's about a lot of it is me giving people permission to tell their stories. Because what happens is you get really focused on, you have this business or you're this sales professional and you don't think so much about yourself, right? You're pushing the business. That's all well and good, but the way that the consumer buys is they want to know from whom they're buying. They want to buy from someone they know, like, and trust. And you don't build that know, like, and trust factor unless you're like a giant conglomerate, right? Us small businesses have to leverage ourselves to be able to distinguish from everyone else who does what we do and show people why it is that we're the right choice to buy whatever product and service that's going to fit and meet their needs. So it's about, creating, weaving the stories together in a way that makes sense. So you're not just throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping something sticks.
True. I mean, I think it's also goes the other way. Got to remember to be a little bit salesy too. Because I've evaluated my social media and I've looked at it over the last, 13 years I've been using social media. And I said, boy, I'm hardly doing any sales here at all anymore. I need to push in a little bit of, stop being a secret agent.
But you can
know what I do in that story.
You can tell people what you do without pushing a sale, right? Like, I will post a photo that I have taken myself and talk about the people in the photo. Like, people know that I'm like going to take a picture, right? Like, people know that I post pictures and it's usually something that I have captured. And I will say things like, this session was so much fun and this family really knew how to let loose. I don't talk like that. I wouldn't say let loose. That's not at all something I would say, but you know what I mean? Like, I would say something like, I had a super fun time with this family because they know how to have fun. And I would post a picture, and this is a photo from the session. Like, so I'm telling people about what I do. I'm not telling them to hire me.
That's true, but that is a form of sales.
It is, right? But that's
sales. We can't be ashamed of sales because part of our goal is salespeople, and some of the best people in the world are sales. What I'm saying is that I think a lot of people that have been doing social media for a period of time, they're used to being well known. Mm-hmm. They have a following, and they may be failing to do the ask. People that are newer to their profession who really need to be well known, they do it or they perish, right? They need to let people know they're an insurance agent, they're a real estate agent, etc. And I think because of that, they do have initial success and then they need to tone it down a little bit. I think that the people that have been doing it for a while, they need to crank it up a little bit too, so that we know what they're doing a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's why today, as we go around and we share our successes, I am going to let you tell a little bit more about what you do, because we've gotten very comfortable on the program with the panelists. We all know what each other does, but maybe the people watching don't know. Right. And that's why we chose to have less people today, to give everyone the opportunity to give, not to be, a sales pitch, but, let people know what you do so they can take advantage of what you do. So Jenny, what successes have you had in the last week?
Successes in the last week. I've signed 3 new clients that kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I don't even know who they are. They found me, which is exciting. But right? That means that I'm doing something right. And I was able to photograph my podcast co-host for their first professional family photo session since their 8-year-old son was born. So that was fun. And I consider that a huge win because it was literally the conversation was, you haven't had family photos in how long? I don't care. You're getting on my calendar. Like, we'll figure out all the details later. And I may have said a couple other judgmental things that I wouldn't normally say to people if they weren't my friends. And her response was like one of the most amazing responses ever, because she goes, I sent her the gallery. I have a really fast turnaround, so we did it Friday afternoon. I sent it to her Saturday, and she texted me back and she said, I freaking love my family, and now I have like the pictures to prove how much I love them, and thank you so much for, like, it was like, wonderful. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And we have Friendsgiving coming up. I'm excited about that.
Excellent. I was watching you and Aaron speak at the Rockstar Connect event. You guys, have probably had a good 15-minute to 20-minute conversation sitting down there. And you're both photographers. You do different types of photography. You do the storytelling as well and the strategy. I don't know if Aaron does that or if he's more, straight on event photography. Can you utilize, when you're doing your program, photos from other types of photographers? Like if someone wanted to do something with real estate, could you work in a property or a community into that story using their photos?
Absolutely. So one of the things with my content marketing side is I even say it in my sales pitch when I talk about it. Even if you have another photographer that you love, that's awesome. I want, that photographer is going to want to see you use your photos. And if they're not helping you, if they don't have this system, if they don't have this program to help you use your photos, I'm happy to show you what you can do with them, and in a way that's going to be effective for you and also be good marketing for them.
Right. So, you can't go back in time, for example, and get Noah's wedding pictures or the birth of her children or her high school graduation photos, but that may be important for telling the story she wants to tell. So you would be able to weed that in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I show
guys,
you how to use stock photos.
What Jenny's doing, other people do it. Jenny does it very well, and it's fantastic to have that outside help, especially if you have a lot of content and you don't know how to weave that content together properly to tell a story. It's just too much. Or maybe you can do it, but you don't have the time to do it, and you're not going to do it at the level Jenny can do it. That's when you would reach out to Jenny. So now we're pretty clear what Jenny does and what she considers a success. So feel free to reach out to her, everyone. Adam, we have an event in Florida this week. So you might want to go to that. It's in Boca Raton. It's the group that's hosted by, who's the host of that event, Sarah? Patrick Keogh, who's a great connector down in the Boca area. Sarah will eventually throw into the chat where that event is for those of you down in South Florida that are listening, so you can go to that event. In the Triangle area in Raleigh, we have 2 events this week. We have one tonight in Clayton, which is a suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina. And it's sort of a fun event because we do it at a go-karting facility. So you have the opportunity to go go-karting, and they also have axe throwing. Preferably, you will not do the axe throwing while you are go-karting. It is absolutely not recommended that you do those as separate things. On Thursday, you laugh, but some of our attendees could possibly try to do that if they had a few drinks. On Thursday, right? Well, Sarah and I are going to be at that event this evening. I'm going to be in charge of safe social distancing. I'll be taking people's temperatures at the door, making sure that people know the rules about masks. It's really cool because the Rockstar Connect events, our attendees are so good at social distancing and being polite of one another with the masks. They literally wear their masks through the whole event. If they have food, they go like this. They lift it down, the mask, put in a piece of food, eat it, chew, have a drink, do it the same way. And that's with them staying way beyond the length of the event too. Our event was 6 to 8 last week, and people were still there around 9ish. They didn't want to leave the room. especially Sarah. Sarah did not want to leave. She was having too good of a time. We kept on walking out the door. I would turn around and wait. Okay, wait, she's still inside. You know, you've had that experience, all of us. Thursday night, we're going to be doing something downtown at Tobacco Road with Mark Roberts and Tiffany Roberts. They're our host of Downtown Raleigh. And I will be at that event. I'm not sure whether Sarah will be there or not, or whether she'll be event out, because that'll be the fourth event we've been in a very recent amount of time networking. So Adam, down in Florida, you're sort of an international person. Before you share your latest success with us, why don't you tell us, first of all, I know you have a new position that's very important, and you have a company that's doing big things. Why don't you share that with us?
Well, first of all, Stephen, I'm still running Adam Connects, which is one of the fastest growing digital business card networks in the entire country, and doing really well with that. The position I did take this past week is the marketing coordinator with the 911 PTSD Foundation. And they specialize in helping both first responders and children and their families deal with PTSD issues. And we're really ramping things up for the holidays. So, you know, especially coming on the tail end of the year with COVID, there's a lot of, you know, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but behind me, there's a ton of experts who help people through these situations I don't understand. I'm just really, really good at marketing, and we're getting the word out everywhere, including here. So if you do have any issues, or your friends or family do with PTSD, type PTSD to 64600, and you'll get all the information.
So this is all forms of PTSD. This isn't just, you know, 9/11 or, you know, being a veteran. This is also COVID PTSD or from relationships, etc.
So just to keep this in mind, the organization was set up for the family survivors of the people who perished in the 9/11 attack.
Mm-hmm.
But that's so long ago, none of them are children anymore. So they've grown up, they've dealt with things, and now you have a whole team of trained professionals who have extra time and availability to help people from all walks of life now.
Excellent. Well, that's fantastic. What has been your great success in the last week?
I'm not in Florida anymore. I made it to Canada.
Ah, okay. I was wondering because, you know, I saw that you had a nice dinner on your Facebook page. And
that was a goodbye dinner. No more. That was Chilean sea bass, and that was my goodbye South Florida dinner. So now I'm up in Canada, and I apologize if this internet goes out. I'm on a temporary setup here. It's the first time I've ever attended the 3 Martini lunch on my phone. I'm assuming I look okay and sound okay because you're responding to me. But it's very exciting. Stephen and Sarah hosted us for a nice dinner on our way up to Canada. And although my Sarah got there 2 days later, it took me 3 weeks later. But I'm here in Canada, and I'm celebrating that as one of my best victories this week.
Yes, so let's point that out and congratulations, 2 American citizens that are going into Canada by car. You can't do it. You absolutely must. What's the procedure, Adam?
So it's closed. It's closed. The border's closed. There's some exceptions, and you should go through the solicitors, which is what they call their attorneys, to find out. My wife's actually a Canadian citizen, and that's the only reason I was able to fly across the border 3 weeks later. Mm-hmm. So the borders are literally closed. They don't want Americans in. They're really serious about their COVID. I'm on quarantine, so I should have my computer and my whole internet set up here brilliantly by next week. So by our next meeting, so that should be fine. But yeah, unless you're trying to come to Canada for a very specific reason, hopefully medically involved, it's the border's just closed.
Hmm. Well, now you learned about it here, because we really don't know what's going on everywhere else. That's for sure. This is our Thanksgiving show of Three Martini Lunch. We will not be having a Three Martini Lunch next week. Our belief is that because many people in different communities are limited to 10 people, they may actually end up having, multiple events versus one large event. There may be Thanksgivings on 2 days. We don't know. I mean, it's an all big unknown. And I'm going to start cooking very early. I love to cook for holiday meals. I have almost all my grocery shopping done and ready to go. Hey, Jack, welcome back. I saw you at the event at the Marriott.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It was fun. A lot of fun. That would be partially on my list of successes from the week. So that was a good event.
So the Marriott, that is a big success, and Domenic put that relationship together, and that was his first event there. But the beauty of using a place like a hotel for a networking event is hotels are really on top of sanitation. They have large spaces. It's easy to keep distance. There's no reason why anybody should be pushing up onto anyone at these events, and they're prepared for it. I mean, there are big signs everywhere.
Yeah.
How to keep your distance. So we're happy that we're going to be able to do more events with the Marriott hotels.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to, talk a little bit about what you do.
Okay. Just to share with everybody on board that I work with a company called Insperity, and this is a big time of year for us, and that's really also my other part of my success is my pipeline is really, really big right now. So we've got some good things right across over the finish line with us. I'm in a sales position, but what we do is provide a lot of back office support for small to mid-sized businesses. We're an HR company first and foremost, so anything that you would need from that aspect or a company would need, we can provide that. But then the big thing right now for us is medical benefits. A lot of companies renew at 1/1, and we do our medical benefits in a very different way that they join a larger healthcare plan rather than us being a part of a small plan. So it gives those smaller companies a lot of the economies of scale. So a lot of companies are looking at us if they want to renew their medical benefits to try to help them with their rate control. So, but that's what we do.
A lot of people are reaching out to me now and saying they need to deal with their medical and they just don't know how.
Right.
Because it doesn't seem as like it's been as pressing an issue, or at least not as much on social media regarding it. But acronyms like HR. A lot of people that are, individual entrepreneurs, they may not have an HR department. They don't even know what HR means.
Yeah. And that's exactly, we'll talk to the CFOs or CEO and like, they're not versed in it. And exactly. But you got to make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. You don't want to put yourself at risk.
Yeah. So the first acronym you hear when you come to the Triangle where we are, and Triangle is the Silicon Valley of the East Coast. Those of you that are listening, you hear Raleigh and you go, where the hell is Raleigh? Why are there so many people from Raleigh doing so many things? And we are the East Coast Silicon Valley, a lot of innovative people, innovations in every field imaginable. And basically everyone says, if you ask them what they're in, they say they're in IT.
Yeah.
IT. So when I first moved here, I was from Miami, Florida, which is now becoming a big IT capital. In 2006, we were, beach resort, a big beach resort and a financial capital, not IT. So everybody would say, they were in IT, and I just thought that it was some sort of cult. Until I actually, got interested enough to ask them what IT was. I just thought they were part of a cult. I didn't know what it was. Sort of not 100% sure what it is now. But our next panelist, he is very actively involved with the IT community. He runs a not-for-profit here, or that is involved with IT. Domenic, do you want to tell us a little bit about the event you just had?
Yeah, so I am the host of the Rockstar Connect RTP business networking event. So when Stephen was talking about the Triangle being the East Coast Silicon Valley, what he was referring to was the Research Triangle Park specifically. So centrally located between Duke, UNC, and NC State. There are massive technology campuses there for IBM, Cisco, Lenovo, SAS is here. Fidelity has its FinTech Development Center here. So does Credit Suisse, so does Deutsche Bank. There's NetApp is here. There are massive pharmaceutical companies like Eastman Kodak's Pharmaceutical Development, Fujifilm's Pharmaceutical Development. Biogen has a massive campus here. The National Institute of Health and Environmental Sciences has a massive campus here that does all sorts of research. There are incredible amounts of high technology startup companies coming up in this area. And I mean, we're basically about 10 to 15 years behind Silicon Valley. So we're basically Sand Hill Road East when it comes to that. We've had some huge unicorn companies that have had massive exits. Some companies, like take Red Hat for instance, have had multiple exits. They've had an IPO and an acquisition. So the guys who started that are bazillionaires now. So, you know, they're able to then turn and reinvest in new startup companies that are going to be doing, you know, the next big things in the area. And that specifically is the, you know, that's the market that I work in as a business financial services specialist. So I work with those startup technology companies on insurance, risk management, employee benefits, exit strategy planning, and you know, and to do that, as Stephen said, I'm the lead organizer of a group called 1 Million Cups. Now, 1 Million Cups is an entrepreneurial ecosystem building organization. It is a local outreach arm for the Kauffman Foundation. The Kauffman Foundation's an international it's an international philanthropic organization. It's a 501c3. Its main purpose is for the promotion of economic development through entrepreneurship, and it has a $4 billion endowment behind it for that purpose. And there's about 160 chapters nationwide, but the RTP chapter is one of the biggest ones in the country because we have all these technology startups coming through here. And what we do is every week on Wednesday mornings, we meet, we have 1 to 2 startups that give a presentation, and then all the people in the community that are part of this provide feedback and figure out ways that we can help these businesses get to the next level. So that's a really cool thing that I get to be involved in.
So it's sort of like
market.
Shark Tank, a gentle Shark Tank.
It is a general Shark Tank, but we're not sitting there on the other side going, I'm going to invest in it or I'm not. It's not a pitch environment like that. So it's not high pressure. It does give people an opportunity to practice their pitch if that's what they're looking for. But we do have special connections with NC IDEA, which is the largest entrepreneurial grant giving organization in the state of North Carolina. We have connections with American Underground in Durham, who provides our, when we did have meetings in person, they provided our space for us to meet. We have connections with IP law firms. We have connections with, the CED, the Council for Economic Development. So there's a lot of different when people who are starting up a company start at and present at 1 Million Cups, they get to dip their toes in all sorts of different resources throughout the community to help their businesses grow from, bootstrapping and being in the garage to, turning into an actual real company that's going to eventually get, potentially millions of dollars in investment and take off.
Right. Well, I mean, you're perfectly situated to tell us all about that.
Oh, yeah.
And from my perspective as a real estate agent, I mean, North Carolina has benefited greatly, not only from Research Triangle Park, but also the opportunity zones that have been created in North Carolina since 2016. So North Carolina is a great place to invest. And it's becoming one big megapolis. So all the way from Charlotte to the coast, there are technology companies. In the smallest towns, there are technology companies. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, take Wilson, for example, right? Wilson, you think this is a small post-industrial, they were a textile and furniture town, and that kind of all went by the wayside. But the one thing that they had in their advantage is they have a municipality-owned internet and telecommunications company, and the town has the monopoly. So they put a ton of resources into their internet technology, and they basically have the best internet service in the entire state. So there's a lot of companies that have repositioned themselves there because it's less expensive land. There's a lot of buildings out there to repurpose. They've got this great resource in their net access, and all these little startup companies have started to sprout out around there in this little town, Wilson, which is, it's about an hour away from here. But if you didn't know about it, you wouldn't even realize it exists. And it's all of a sudden bubbling with all this, high technology. It's really cool to see what's going on in the state.
In little Warren County up, by the Virginia border in Lake Gaston, Research Triangle Park just opened up Frontier Warrenton.
Oh yeah.
Satellite out of the park with a incubator with 40 companies.
Yeah.
And what was the poorest county in the entire state, and it's because of these opportunity zones. Mm-hmm. And Littleton, which is in Warren County, just recently had one of their prodigal sons come back and drop a few $1 billion into a little town.
Yeah.
To completely bring the downtown back together, to bring high-speed internet, which is the most important thing for growth. So, guys, check out North Carolina. Yes, Silicon Valley is 15 years ahead of us, but our property costs are a tiny, tiny fraction of that.
And so is our taxes.
And so our taxes and our auto insurance. That's always the biggest thing when we do a closing, when people call me up and say, hey, what I'm saving on my auto insurance pays my mortgage for the entire year.
Now, I will say one of the things that is a huge silver lining out of this whole pandemic is that people have an option to work from anywhere because of the technology that we have and our abilities to work from home. And I think that that's going to contribute a lot to the revitalization of these smaller towns that have been suffering from generations and generations and generations of brain drain, as people go off to college and they don't come back to their small town in order to contribute to the economy. That's caused the economies in these small towns to degrade over time. But now we're going to see it reversing as these smaller towns are much less expensive to live in, and you get to be around the community of your people that you grew up with and recontribute to that, but still have the great jobs that up until recently had only been available in large municipal areas, large cities. You're going to start to see a little bit more of a balancing out of that dynamic, and you're going to see more people stay where they're at, and those economies in those areas are going to start benefiting from those high-paying workers staying in those areas and spending their money inside of the communities, and everybody else is going to benefit along with.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not just North Carolina; it's the states around us as well, because they have those opportunity zones. So big things are happening in Virginia and in South Carolina, which is just making our region fantastic. And I'll brag on our weather. Walk the dog today, shorts, t-shirt, flip-flops. I mean, I know it was 48 degrees outside, but the sun was shining and it was a beautiful thing. So all of you are welcome to come out here.
It's not quite Florida, Stephen, but at least in the middle of the summer, we're not dying. Or we might a little bit, but not quite that bad.
You get that long dog walk out first thing in the morning, and it's still 70 degrees or 60, even as low as in the summer.
Yep.
So Noah is one of those people who came from all the way across the world to North Carolina, all the way across the world, because we're a technology hub. correct?
With a stop in New York City for 7 years or 8 years. Yeah, but I'm here for 7 years and it's wonderful. Even though I didn't like it in the beginning because it was so perfect.
It was too perfect. You know, people wait in lines and they don't yell and scream at one another. It's a little disturbing at first. It's like Stepford Wives. But I remember showing Noah and her husband an investment property, and it was a townhome. And I think at that time, the townhome was about $175,000 townhome. And she said, "Oh my gosh, in Brooklyn, this would be $1 million in Brooklyn." And Brooklyn was the cheap part of New York at the time. Well, I think that same was probably about $100,000 more than that years later. So, but still great opportunities. So Noah, if you could first, before we get to your success, we haven't spoken to you in a few weeks. Why don't you let everybody know what you're up to and what you do and how they can connect with you?
Thank you, Stephen. So I am an author, a speaker, and a coach. My book is Beyond Leadership, From Awareless to Awareness. And I encourage people to never settle on the norms so they can create the change they believe in. And I try to do that with social leaders. That's my fun, which means that there is something you want to do that is beyond just the income. You want to create something for the community because you have values you believe in and you want to engage it as part of being a business leader. And I believe it starts with a mindset to create the change that you want, because sometimes to take that leap, a lot of fear or limiting beliefs or some perspective in your way to create that change. So that's what I do. I'm originally from Israel, as you kind of like mentioned that, but live here for 15 years and was able to vote in the last election. So I'm a citizen. And my success beyond the ability to vote is, I was thinking about it. There are clients that work with me right now, a few clients that work with me for a year or 6 months, and they show up week after week after week after week. And sometimes you don't think about it. You know, we do the work. That's what I call the mindset. And I had a session as a coach. I also take coaching sessions with my coach. And I told her, you know, it's amazing. Those people show up a week after week and they always have a topic to work on, because in coaching, the coach doesn't bring the topics. It's your responsibility as the coachee to bring the topic for the conversation. And it always starts with my clients, what do you want to talk about today? And I am amazed with these people and their commitment to personal growth, because when I was with my coach, I was not able to figure out a topic for myself. So that was a moment of, you know, looking at myself and saying, those are amazing people. And I am grateful, you know, talking Thanksgiving, to work with those kind of people that care so much about personal growth.
I think people are doubling down, and whatever they were doing before, they say, I want to do it better. I'm going to take this opportunity to really succeed. I mean, I know on your end, you have had a journey over the last few years with diet and health.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen you in maybe 2 months now.
Yeah.
You clearly look much healthier, I would say. I mean, your skin, your hair, everything. Is that due to doubling down, or is it a natural progression? Is it something you also help your clients with?
I was engaged in it. Like this morning, I had a client that told me, I need a moment. I just had a fight with my manager and another person, and it feels like a fist in my heart. And he's in such a huge stress for a long time because he was promoted. He works in a very big IT company, actually not in the Triangle, because I work with people internationally. So I start my days at 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. to work with people from Europe and some people from Israel. And yes, the conversation definitely went to energy, because what I find is that sometimes we need to learn what are the things that take our energy and what are the things that feed our energy, and how do we learn to maintain that. So for example, I give most of my day. So I went out for a run. That's why it's a bit wet. I went for a run at 12 p.m. after working from 6 to 12 p.m. So I had 6 hours of coaching people, which is giving. And then I went to a run in the beautiful, outdoors. Right now it's the fall here, so it's so beautiful. I nurtured myself, and that's probably why I'm smiling like that right now. So I had to go through my own personal journey to learn how I need to maintain my energy and when I need to stop, so I can probably have the experience you have with me where I smile and find more joy. And I actually just, talking about our stories, I had a conversation with a financial advisor who asked us how we want to, how our retirement, to look, how we want the retirement phase to look like. And I had a moment with myself before I answered, and I said, I don't need to wait for retirement. I design my life that I don't need to wait for that day that everything is going to be perfect. I'm designing my life today to be this way, that I don't need to wait for the vacation, that I don't need to wait for retirement. So that's kind of like how I try to design my life.
I think that now people have opportunity to see the new things that they're doing, because things aren't going to be the same maybe 6 months from now.
Right.
But we are doing different things. We have new rituals.
Yeah.
So we're going to need to decide which one of those rituals we're going to keep.
Exactly. And also, when I say I encourage, and I'm putting emphasis on the courage, you to never settle on the norms, is that right now people are able to see it worked when they went to the office doesn't work for us anymore. And the way our schedule looked before, it looks now different, and you can keep fighting it, or you can realize that you need to shift and do things differently. So if before you went to the gym after work, maybe now you need to start working at 10 and take time in the morning, because there are some people, especially single ones, that work nonstop. They work back to back and don't take breaks. And that's where you ask me in the conversations. I pay attention to that, and I ask them how they can do things differently and where are the boundaries. And mostly boundaries, it's not because of other people, it's because we don't put the boundaries with ourselves. So those are the things I'm trying to listen when I work with people, to help them to design the schedule or the things that they can find joy in what they do, and then become their better self and then take the leap. If you are not thriving, how can you inspire or influence or do the big work you want to do?
Right. I mean, most of our listeners, we're a special breed. We either, we may work for companies. Most of us own our own companies.
Yeah.
But the ones that work with other companies, they have a lot of latitude. A salesperson, what they're doing is working. If they're working for the right organization, the organization is going to encourage them to do that. So right now, everyone does have that opportunity to lead the life that they want. And first and foremost, it's getting control over your schedule. Now, I see behind you on that board, what are those little have to do with schedule or goals? Or
this is since I have my business, so this is my business vision. And I believe it has to be on the wall and not hide in your corner. It has to be there to be seen, or you find excuses. So this is why it's there. And it's a lot of, I like working with Post-its because you can move things around and be very creative. So sometimes when I work with people that are stuck, I take out all the creative stuff and we have fun with it, that people can think in a different way to, again, get out of their own way. I will just say one thing about what you said is that many people who move to have their business, they used to work in companies, they were used to have one way of living, and then suddenly when you have your own business, that's where a lot of demons go out. At least for me, that was my experience. How can I commit to myself? How can I work so many hours? How can I focus? How can I be on the right? So there are lots of things that you need to figure out how to create that for yourself because you're not used to it.
You know, it's a lot about choice. I mean, a lot of people say, well, the best thing about, you know, working for myself is I work 80 hours a week, but I choose what 80 hours I work.
But are you efficient, or are you effective, or do you see results when you work those 80 hours?
Well,
and that's the question.
And do you really have to work 80 hours?
Exactly.
That's the question. Is that ego that you work 80 hours? I mean, are there some meetings that you shouldn't be taking, or there's some things, you know? And I think that the whole situation that we're in right now really helps us to become more efficient. People sort of, you know, have to accept the way you're doing business now, because you can pick and choose your clients. Your clients are everywhere and anywhere. I think everyone I know now has become international, whether they thought they were going to be or not. It's you know, something, the term we throw out there now, and everyone understands what you mean when you say that.
Yeah, and I would just say before we, and now we need to go to the other person, but just people who listen right now, if you find yourself all day long of the computer, ask yourself if you can move some stuff to outdoors, to have calls when you walk, even just move to a phone call, because it's exhausting to be in front of the video all day long. And I do that for 15 years. For me, this is not a new reality. So pay attention that if you need to feed your energy, to let go of the video and find other ways to communicate.
Yeah, well, when Sarah and I go or asked on video calls way too frequently, and we just put our avatar up. We don't go on video. We do screen shares because that's, you know, necessary to understand certain concepts. But we can't constantly be under video. I mean, even if you were in an office, you could hide in your office and lock the door occasionally. You know, let people into your new workspace, but not too far into your workspace. Rhonda, Sher out in California. You know, I've had conversation off the panel before.
We have not actually, but I'd love to.
Yeah, you guys should talk and play a little bit of Jewish geography.
Absolutely.
I think you both have some resources that can help one another. You both know about great speaking opportunities, etc. And boy, am I learning so much more about that, more than I ever wanted to know, because people are reaching out to us to facilitate all different types of virtual events. So I'm learning about that too, selling from the back of the room, etc. All these terms that are specific to the success in coaching industry. Rhonda, welcome.
So, thanks. Always fun to be here, Stephen. So what I do, basically, for those of you that don't know me, is I'm a LinkedIn strategist, and I help people to get found on LinkedIn and to book appointments with people that they want to be doing business with. I like to lovingly say I get you out of the LinkedIn Witness Protection Program. My wins have been actually, it was interesting. I post every single day on LinkedIn, pretty much 5 to 7 days a week. And I got a text last week from somebody, didn't know who it was, because I use a Google phone number. I don't put my real cell phone number out there. And it said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about helping me to upgrade my LinkedIn. And I wrote back and I said, I'm not sure who this is. Love to talk to you. You ever gotten a text and you don't know who it is? Yeah, and so I reached out, and turned out to be a new client, which was very cool. You know, and this person had been following me since 2018. So you really never know where stuff is going to come from. And the other thing that came up, which was definitely kind of cool, is I was invited to put on a webinar in front of a bunch of commercial real estate brokers. I have a couple of clients that have gotten incredible success in the commercial real estate space. And they gave my name and said, hey, could you do a short webinar for us? So lots of stuff has been opening up and happening. And I'm also really moving forward with my course on face reading and developing instant rapport with anybody. So, and we're getting out of boxes because we moved about 3 weeks ago, and we're still, you know, getting the getting rid of stuff and bringing stuff in, and hopefully getting out of storage by the end of the year. That's the goal.
Well, that sounds like some great goals and successes. It's just very interesting. It's just very interesting times. We're doing, obviously far less events, even with virtual, than we did pre-COVID. And last year we did 811 odd events, give or take 1 or 2 events. And this year we've done, 20 events. Well, no, we had the first 2 months of the year, so probably just shy of 100 events so far for the year. And we're not going to make 811 events for the year, even with the virtual. So that gives me a little time to step away from Rockstar Connect for a while and look at the other things I do. And one of them, is I do real estate. And although I'm not having a record year this year, I'm having a very, very, very good year. And I'm looking at the systems that we have in place for Rockstar Connect and some of the other companies that Sarah runs, and Sarah does run the companies. We can be much more effective. Next year, I could have the most blowout real estate year in the history of Sarah and Stephen doing real estate. And it's because of the crisis. I mean, we never would have had time to get off the very busy merry-go-round, which is Rockstar Connect, in order to do that. Have you found that you have more opportunities because of COVID versus lack of opportunity?
Well, for me, the ability to not have to run to so many events, to so many physical events, has really opened up the schedule. I used to go to a lot of physical events, and this is, I think, so much better. I miss the physical contact, but I think you can be so much more effective with your time doing it this way.
Great. Hey, well, thank you so much, Rhonda. I want everyone who's on to please stay on. We're going to talk to Jennifer a little bit, and then we're going to get to the Thanksgiving question portion of 3 Martini lunch today. Jennifer.
Hey.
A little bit about what you do. What you do is extremely innovative. I don't know of anyone else who's doing it. And then share with us what your success has been.
Yes. So I'm the owner of a advertising creative services company called Mint Print LLC. We're based out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I started this company about 5 years ago. But one of our main creations is our trademark called Carolina Bulletin. And that is our online publication, as we call it, because it's a brand that promotes local businesses on social media, basically. And we're on all the major sites. But a big one for us is that we recently hit about close to 3 million post reach per month on Facebook alone. So we're super excited. We built up a lot. That takes a lot of work to do that for our page. So that helps bring value, and therefore we get to see a lot more views for our clients that we promote their ads on there too, which is the purpose of this. And then we're working on, another one is I'm working on the script for the next episode, Carolina Bulletin News, which is the first and only animated series or a cartoon show that promotes local businesses on it. And so we're looking to get that launched sometime in the first week of December, hopefully. I don't get too distracted with that, but it's a lot of work to animate and do all the special effects and voiceovers, writing, etc. It's full production, but I'm very excited to get that launched soon, and make it a fun and holiday spirit kind of themed, end of 2020 big episode kind of thing. So that's what's going on with my company right now.
Do you feel like your company has grown over the last 9 months?
A little bit, yeah. I felt like there's a lot more clients that I've gotten online due to COVID because of the chance to do one-on-ones on Zoom, where a lot of people were not aware of Zoom beforehand. Jenny was nodding her head, she knows too. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of people they had no idea that you can do a virtual meeting, and they were hesitant to do so, talk about digital services. But the great thing about doing that, you can pull up your screen, you can demonstrate things about, on websites, on social media, and it builds up a lot more trust instantly like that when you can show evidence, show your videos, your previous work on there. So we've built up more, a lot more people as far as our clients and lead base is right now.
Well, congratulations. So guys, we're right at the 3 o'clock. We're right at the 3 o'clock hour. Who's going to stay with us in this hour? I hope everyone. Well, Rhonda, can we start with you then? Can you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I actually have to jump on another call. Sure, love to.
Okay, so we'll keep it brief. Rhonda, so this year it's going to be a Thanksgiving like no other. We're going to have a lot of very intimate Thanksgivings, especially out there in California. What are you most thankful for this year, and what new ritual are you going to include in your Thanksgiving dinner this year?
So I think what I'm most thankful for is, being able to have made the move to Carlsbad from Murrieta, and for my husband to have realized his dream to be able to retire from his corporate job. I think that's one of them. And Thanksgiving is going to look really different this year. We're just going to have my younger daughter, who lives about an hour and a half from us, join us. And then we're going to do everything on Zoom, just like we did with the Passover Seder. So it's going to be very different. But the good news is we're doing it near the beach. So I'm very excited about that.
Do you think Zoom will be part of your Thanksgiving going forward?
I hope not.
No?
I really hope
okay.
not. But, if it's the only way that you can connect, the one nice part is that you get to connect with family all over the country, which, you normally wouldn't do. Usually it's just the California family that we do. But the numbers here are incredibly high. I mean, scary high. They're actually going all the way back to purple, which is pretty restrictive. So I hope next year it's totally different, but I'm grateful.
Is that high, even though you've had the highest restrictions in the whole country?
Yeah, the numbers are pretty scary.
Okay, so why do you think they're higher there than?
Is that with Halloween there was a huge spike because even though the kids don't get it, they're carriers. I also think that people are, they have pandemic fatigue. They're just tired of it, and they're not distancing. They're not wearing masks, and people are going out. And except for the people that are older, you see the young people that are just kind of thinking this is no big deal. It's the common cold, and it's not. We lost our brother, Bob's brother, to this last April. And I have several friends that have gotten so sick. So I just don't take it lightly, but I think a lot of people don't look at it in a way that says, this could be me, and so we're just kind of laying low. I'm hoping next year is going to look a whole lot different.
Well, in the Triangle, I mean, we have a lot of mask wearers, and it's very uncommon that I see someone without one. I do see some people that wear them under their nose for a portion of time, but most of the time I see people wearing masks. And our numbers are increasing too, regardless. Maybe that's just the nature of illness. It's hard you can't stop a hurricane with umbrellas.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't change the course of a storm. It is going to go the way it wants to go.
Yeah.
Luckily, the mortality rate is dropping, and people are getting better treatment because we know it's much better to get COVID now than it was between March and May of this year. March and May of this year, that might have been a death sentence for a lot of people. Now it's just a really, really uncomfortable, terrible thing, but not necessarily a death sentence.
Yeah.
Boy, Katie, you came in on like the serious part, huh?
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'll see you after the holiday.
Thank you for staying a little bit longer.
I am also leaving. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye. Oh, we lost Noah. Did we lose Noah too? Okay, we lost Noah as well. Hey, Shaun, welcome to the show. So, Katie, this week we are talking a little bit about what we do as well as our success. And of course, we have it's a Thanksgiving program, so we do have a Thanksgiving related question. What are some of the successes you've had? What do you do, first of all, for those people that don't know?
I am the founder and executive director of the nonprofit Going Places, and we provide new custom bikes to every single child at once in the low-income elementary schools. And we're actually giving away 455 bikes 3 weeks from today, and 3 weeks from Thursday. So I am extremely busy right now because we have to build all 455 bikes, load them into 3 different semi trucks, and then we have a bike reveal on December 7th and then December 10th. So I'll put in the chat if anyone's interested in helping volunteer to help build them or to come to the schools and help distribute them to kids and surprise them. We will be broadcasting it live on our YouTube channel. So once we have that all set up, I'll be sharing that out. But then I also teach people how to start nonprofits, or people that have a nonprofit, but they've, raised $50,000 or less. I can help you kind of revamp that and get funds coming in quickly so you can start making a bigger difference in the community.
Excellent. What has been you're doing the big reveal?
Yep.
Has there been another big success over the last week?
We've had like 5 companies reach out to us who are like, we have selected you as our end of year giving. We want to give you a check, or we want you to be the beneficiaries of our holiday happy hour. So a lot of companies aren't doing a big party, but they do like a happy hour at a brewery. And so T-Mobile had reached out to me, and they're going to be doing a big fundraiser for us on Giving Tuesday, which is December 1st. It's the biggest day of global giving for nonprofits. And so I'm so excited about that, and several other companies. So it's really nice to have people think of us and choose us.
And I know Sarah bought some bikes this week.
Yeah, thank you. You guys bought 2 bikes. So happy. Oh, and I was on Jenny's podcast. That was another success. That was really, really fun. We had a good conversation. I don't know, Jenny, when's it going to come out?
December 1st, because we're going to do it to coincide with Giving Tuesday, right? So I was like mid episode or mid recording, and she mentions about the sponsors, the matching and all the stuff, and I was like, and we're going to change the date of your release. So and the girls who do stuff are going to donate a bike on Giving Tuesday so that we can make sure we get that matching. And
thank you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah. And that's so generous that you guys agreed to do that, because on Giving Tuesday we have a goal to raise $20,000, and just in those 24 hours. And we have one company that's going to be matching about 8,000 to 10,000 of that. Some other companies have agreed to match 500. There's several companies in there that have agreed to match different amounts. So every dollar you donate is going to be doubled, tripled, quadrupled. The more matching donors we get, the more we're going to raise that day, which are going to go towards funding the bikes that we need next year.
Well, that's terrific. That's an absolute lot of success there. That's a lot of bicycles too. Yeah,
it's been. One more thing. I have so many things happening. Tomorrow, I am going to GoFundMe. About a month ago, I was on one of their webinars. It was a panel of 4 of us about fundraising, and they asked just me to come back this time, and it's going to be me tomorrow with a member of GoFundMe in a panel discussion about donor retention. So if anyone has a nonprofit or you're interested in how to retain donors, tune in tomorrow, from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. And I've posted about it on Going Places social media and my own social media, and I can put the link in the chat too.
Yeah, please do. So let's jump into the question, the Thanksgiving question. What are you thankful for this year? And what new rituals will you be adding to your traditions, your Thanksgiving traditions this year?
Well, I'm thankful my parents live here, because I am from LA, California, and after I graduated high school, I went on to school at University of Colorado, then moved to Chicago, then moved here. I never went back home. Christmas, I always saw them at Christmas, but Thanksgiving's too close for Christmas to travel across the country. for us. And so I'm thankful that I get to spend Thanksgiving with them now. They've lived here in Charleston for 2 years. So this will be the third Thanksgiving I have with them. And I mean, really not much is that different for us. Like, I'm going to their house. We actually have another couple that they're friends with are coming over, but we sit on the porch. They have a big screened in porch. And that's where we always hang out even before COVID, because it's so nice out there. And we always eat out there. We wear masks, when I'm at their house usually, but I mean, really not that much is going to be different for us. Like, Thanksgiving has never been like the it holiday. It's more like Christmas. So we've never Zoomed with relatives before, anything like that on Thanksgiving. So
the whole holiday may be a new tradition for you now. And with your family and everything else.
Oh, right. Yep. Yeah, you and my roommate might come with us. So, I mean, but my parents see my roommate and I all the time. So really not that much is going to be different for us this Thanksgiving.
And what does the term give thanks to you mean?
Just things I'm grateful for that, could be different in my life. My parents could still be in LA and I could just kind of be trying to find a place to go on Thanksgiving. So it's just things that I'm lucky to have in my life.
And it's a big deal when your parents follow you across the country.
Yes. Well, I'm an only child and I kept moving. So this is the third state post LA where I grew up that I've lived in. So they're like, are you staying somewhere? Once I had my nonprofit, like, okay, we're pretty sure you're staying there. So their plan was always to come wherever I settled. But it's great to have them here.
That's probably, I would think, the thing to be most thankful about is being with family over this Thanksgiving.
For sure.
It's a great thing. We're going to have my parents over for Thanksgiving, both of our kids, a cousin and his new friend. And of course, that was a debate whether he could bring someone or not in COVID. And my parents are going to be there. So we're really excited about that. And also Sarah's father. We're going to go drive, pick him up, and bring him into town.
Nice.
It should be a great time.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shaun, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I'm sure you have an illusion for us. We'll come to that at the end. But let's
Sure.
ask. So on this show today, we're giving people the opportunity, since it's been a while, to sort of explain, what do you do? What do you do as your vocation? How do you make a living? And how can people connect with you to utilize your skills?
Sure. So I'm a professional magician. I've been doing it for 17 years. And ever since March, I've been taking my skills of communication and connecting with audiences and using the magic of technology, using Zoom. I've actually done a few live events, actually. If people have a good-sized porch, I was able to set up my show on the porch outside, and people would sit, a small audience would sit out a few feet away. It was actually worked out really well. So when I'm not performing, when I'm not incorporating companies' messages into my presentation to create a magical and entertaining conversation, I'm also a creator. I create things in the 3D space, and I'm a 3D designer. And I've actually, one of my successes, this is pretty cool, so I'm working with a friend of mine on this project. It's a wristwatch project, and this is the one that we made together. These are custom dome-style wristwatches where they could be monogrammed inside, or a little miniature of something that represents you in your life. So I'm making the little miniatures and the little monograms in 3D and using my 3D printer and making some of the parts for these really cool, unique devices.
Oh yeah, that sounds really cool. And handmade, essentially, right?
Yeah, it's basically handmade. The guy that created this company, his name is Mike Michaels. He's one of the go-to builders for guys like David Copperfield and other illusionists in Las Vegas. He lives in Las Vegas, but we've been friends for like 10 years now, and I'm working for him basically remotely. And he says, hey, I'm developing a new watch, and it needs this, that, and the other inside. Can you design it? And so I come up with a design, and I make it, and then I send him the little pieces, and then he incorporates them into the watch. So it's called Chronolab Watches, chronolab.co, if if you want to know.
So if you could drop that in the chat so other people could see it, that would be great.
Yeah.
So, what are you thankful for this year, and what tradition are you going to be adding to your Thanksgiving? How are you going to be doing your Thanksgiving this year?
The Thanksgiving this year is probably not going to be much different than other years because usually we've kept it pretty small. So let's just say, what am I thankful for this year? Everything has a positive and a negative, so I'm thankful that I've been given the gift of time, quite literally and figuratively, to explore and work on my other skills and talents, whereas prior to March, I never really had the time. And so now I've just grown my skill set by leaps and bounds, and now I'm able to help and serve other people in different industries.
And it's sort of neat the way you present it. It's almost like all of us got the opportunity to take a little, I mean, we're still working, we're still doing what we did before, but we have a little bit of time for sabbatical to do what we do better. With that
Right.
extra time that we're not, spending at bars and going crazy like Katie does in Charleston. I know she doesn't because she told us last week she's very much a rule follower. Yes. And so, Shaun, we look forward to seeing your illusions at the end, near the end of the program. We're going to come back to you. That's
Okay.
always that we enjoy. So Domenic asked me to bring someone. Jack, we lost Jack. Oh my gosh. Domenic asked me to bring on Kathy Rickley from Las Vegas. She was a guest on the program before, you said?
Yes, she was.
What did she talk about? Which program was that? Because I apologize. I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, it's been a hot minute. But she has a greeting card company out of Las Vegas.
Okay, Kathy, do you want to turn on your camera? Are you prepared for that? We'll let her rest on it. You guys, Joel from the chat for when she's ready.
Smiling. That's a good sign.
I think that's a photo.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I know. It's just
where she has the skill to remain incredibly still, and that's
never stop smiling.
Right, never stop smiling. That's what she's going to be speaking about today. So let's go over to Jack, because I think Jack has somewhere to go because he jumped off the screen for a minute until I called him back.
Well, and I appreciate that. I think for future reference, I'm not going to try to do this from work because that's why I've had to bounce off a couple of times. Usually I do this from home, which is probably more strategic.
It probably is. And it'll give you an excuse not to go into work too. So definitely take advantage of that.
Yes.
What are you thankful for this year? Most thankful for? And what's your Thanksgiving going to be like? Are you going to have any new rituals or traditions?
I don't know if we'll have any new rituals or traditions, but my in-laws probably will to some degree because our situation usually that both of my parents are passed, but my wife's parents aren't, and they usually come here for Thanksgiving, and we usually go see them for Christmas. But they're both at 80, so it's the new ritual for this year, which I hope it doesn't really turn into a ritual. It's just being aware of what's happening in today's world and try to make sure everybody stays as safe as we can. But really, in terms of like a full ritual of what we're going to do, what we're going to eat. I'd like to think it's going to be as pretty standard as it has been in years past.
Is anyone going to be eating outside?
No, I mean, because my family is myself, and I've got 3 kids, and so there'll be 7 people grand total in the house, and we've got another bar area that the kids can eat at if the table looks like it's a little crowded inside. We could eat outside, but it could get a little chilly here. It's supposed to be cold tomorrow, so we'll have to see what the weather's like. But that would be an option.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe getting some heaters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
Put up a fire pit or something like that.
Exactly.
We do have a fire pit. Did buy a fire pit this year. So, Jack, sorry, it slipped my mind. It'll come back to me, and I'll come back. I'll come back to you for sure. It'll be jogged there. Domenic will jog it out of my brain.
I won't call it a senior moment.
Okay.
Because I'm there too.
Ooh.
Hey, only reason I can say that is because I live in that world.
Well, I have an excuse. Yesterday, I got kicked in the head by a horse.
Ow.
No, that didn't happen, but that would be a good, that would be a great excuse, wouldn't it? And so, Domenic, you're
Yes.
definitely going to have a new ritual this year. I know for a fact you're going to have a new ritual this year, and you have a lot to be thankful for. So what would you like to start with?
What am I thankful for? Oh my goodness. What are rituals? Well, I haven't done 2 Thanksgivings before. Typically do just one big one, but because we have to do the smaller social gatherings, we're doing multiple Thanksgivings. So it just gives me more opportunities to eat turkey and gravy, I guess. That's
Yeah,
a
your
good thing.
favorite thing, turkey and gravy.
Right. Well, I mean, not really, but it's still fun, right?
Don't you wish your
And
national bird was a cow?
that would be interesting. But
Be
yeah.
tasty.
I think they brought cows over on the Mayflower.
So that's one of the things that's going to be a new tradition. But I do like the idea of having a friends only, Friendsgiving. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do. Heather's all hyped about it. She's already planning how we're going to deck out the speakeasy to fit all the people and set up buffets. And she got so excited. You just mentioned the fire pit. She just bought a new fire pit so we could have it out there for that event. So
We'll be distanced and safe and all
yes,
that.
all of that. And it's going to all be outdoor, indoor. So the speakeasy, you haven't actually been by to see it yet, Stephen, but it's in a garage, but we open up the garage door and we have a screen to keep it closed. And then we have some great circulation to, move all the air out. So you're not constantly sitting on each other's air. So what we're going to do is reorganize that space. We've got a lot of furnishings in there. We're going to move that. It's because it's technically patio furniture. We're going to move that out onto the driveway and position it around the fire pit so we can all sit around there and enjoy the fire pit and conversations. And then we're going to put tables and chairs, multiple tables and chairs inside of the speakeasy itself so that we can have everybody sit and eat while being distanced and being outdoors. So it'll be a lot of fun. And there will be some really, really great food. I hear somebody is bringing in awesome corn pudding, and there's going to be multiple turkeys, and Heather's going crazy already making pies, and it's going to be a good time.
Excellent. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, as far as what are you thankful for this year?
Oh my goodness. I've mentioned this before on the broadcast, but one of the things that I've really been thankful for with the pandemic is getting to spend, you never in your adult life get to spend this much time with your family. Right. And I think a lot of people might think, oh, that's a bit overwhelming, but you get to, really impact your relationships with them, especially with your children, in a way I think that I don't think we would have had without this, being able to be there for them all through this virtual schooling and having to play the role of parent and teacher and friend and social entertainment. And I think it's really brought people together in a way that wouldn't otherwise have. So that's what I'm thankful for this year, and that I have a really awesome family that I want to spend time with. And then for great friends, new friends, old friends, some of the best people I've gotten to meet and spend a lot of time with this year.
Is that your dog barking, Domenic? That
is not my dog. That is somebody else's dog. I think it's Jack's dog.
Probably Jack's dog. So yeah, that's great. That's great stuff. I mean, I don't like the fact that I really don't see my parents that frequently. They're less than a few miles away, and they were always over our house at least once a week for dinner, if not several times a week. So we really miss seeing them. and we're happy that we're going to see them for Thanksgiving. And this year, I'm just going to take it a little bit more easy. Like I usually do something different with the dish and make whatever the traditional dish is, like try to pump it up a couple levels. And that's actually can be stress provoking, really. So I'm going to make like the simplest stuffing and the traditional green bean casserole and all those things without going crazy. So I think that's going to lead to a really great Thanksgiving in that regard. So,
Well,
go ahead, Dominic. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, so for the family Thanksgiving, my brother-in-law is Indian. He's from Hyderabad, so we're gonna try and do some kind of like curry turkey dish, maybe like turkey 66 or something like that. I don't know if you've ever had that.
No matter what you do to it, it's still turkey in my mind.
It is still turkey, but you know, once you start throwing a bunch of spices and whatnot,
still turkey.
I guess so.
We're gonna do a spiral ham and a smoked turkey.
Nice.
And I'm not smoking it. I'm buying it already smoked. So I'll be heating up both of those things.
Cheater.
Really. And probably better than I could make it myself. I will glaze it, like glaze them myself and make sure they don't burn. Turducken, like one of the worst things I've ever had.
So excited for turducken.
Yeah,
it's
I guess it probably beats taking an egg and stuffing it into a fish and then stuffing it into a camel.
Well, the whole recipe, because really the hard part is before you stuff the egg into the dove, you have to stuff it into a hummingbird.
This is all you guys. The only three of us understand what's going on right now because there's a group chat with Jenny and Steven and I, and he's describing this stuffed camel dish. And
but the basic is because Steven doesn't like turducken. Like that's it. All came about, and it ended with a camel roasting in the ground. So
it is a traditional Middle Eastern, their version of Thanksgiving dish where you stuff a camel with a sheep and then you stuff and so on and so forth down to like a quail egg. It's a very elaborate dish. Very few people have had it. The cholesterol level is very high. I don't recommend it. There are a lot of health benefits from eating camel, though. So in that regard,
on such a tangent right now.
So you know what? Next year, it's just so hard to gather the ingredients during a pandemic. First of all,
yeah, I know. I mean, usually fresh camels everywhere. I mean,
well, I mean, I know a guy. That's all it takes. You got to know a guy. That's the benefits of networking.
Also, the benefits of being from Florida, I imagine.
Yeah, Florida, Adam and I went to all the same places, and you can pretty much get anything you want.
Right, you've had the stuffed camel, right, Adam?
We may have gone to a dinner together where they've served the stuffed camel, but it's the name of it is.
You can get it right on the street. Camel kebabs.
You can get camel kebabs down in South Florida, but he's in Canada now. Now he can't get anything but maple syrup.
No, he gets the Campbell and the gravy on top of fries with cheese. That's what they do in Canada.
What's that called? The
poutine.
Poutine, camel poutine.
I don't believe it exists until I see it. So, hi, Kathy. I was asked to bring you on. I don't know whether you know that or not. Apparently, you were on the panel before.
No.
Right? No, never. Okay, so my memory is not that bad.
I've been an attendee several times. But
okay, you've been an attendee several times. So this is pretty exciting. You get to participate in the question of the week. What are you thankful for, and what new traditions are you making at your Thanksgiving this year, Kathy?
Oh my goodness, this is a question. So, hi, Kathy Midgley. I want to thank.
First of all, what do you do, Kathy? I know something with greeting cards.
I need to thank Domenic for this because I was texting him, and I always say hi to the regulars, and I don't think what's her name? Is it Noah?
She dropped off the call. She had an appointment.
I've messaged her probably 3 times, and I don't think she ever sees her messenger.
I don't think she looks at it. No,
Domenic is smart enough to put his phone number up there, so he got a text from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Rhonda personally. I've met her a few times personally here. I'm in Las Vegas. That's where I live.
Okay, great. And what do you do out there?
I'm a client attraction and retention strategist, and I also am a residual income coach. So I'm in network marketing. So I coach people I've been in network marketing probably close to 10 years, and I've always worked from home from the computer. So,
So
I'm
Rhonda from Send Out Cards then?
What's that?
You know Rhonda from Send Out Cards then?
Yeah, well, I don't know her from Send Out Cards. I know her through LinkedIn. We've attended a few events together, and I've met her through talking about LinkedIn and things like that. But I am with Send Out Cards actually, and I have to toot my own horn for a second because I'm here by myself. But I just got nominated Executive of the Year for 2020.
Congratulations!
So I'm pretty excited.
I mean, right now I would imagine there's a big demand for old-fashioned greeting cards to be mailed out.
Yeah, there always is, but there's actually been statistics posted on Google and things like that about how greeting cards and things going through the mail is going to be up about 63% this season, because of the pandemic and COVID and people being able to travel and visit and whatnot. So,
I think people are wanting to do some stuff that, they may not have done before. They've always wanted to do. And I know that I'm very familiar with Send Out Cards.
Yeah, well, now they have the time and the extra money since they're not going nowhere.
Right. Like, well, we didn't go away this weekend. So we said, why don't we just buy a whole ton of Christmas decorations, like beyond, like enough Christmas lights that you can see them from the moon. And Sarah put them up. So we put them up early. Like normally we don't have our tree up until after Thanksgiving. I think we'll have one up before Thanksgiving this year. We'll have one this week.
We were the first on this. We were the second on the street. The first and the second on the street. So I'm pumped about that because I'm never the first to do anything like that.
Yeah, we're very excited
Girl.
to be.
Good for her.
So what are you thankful for this year beside winning this fantastic award, and what new ritual and tradition are you putting into play?
Well, okay. Now I promise what the next thing I'm going to say is definitely not to bring anyone down because I'm not down. But I'm a recent widow. I lost my husband in June, not due to COVID. He just ended up with good old-fashioned double pneumonia, nothing fancy, and went on a ventilator after 3 days in the hospital and never woke up. So it's a different, there's no such thing as a new normal for me. This is like my whole new existence. I'm still working into just wrapping up his life and purging and decluttering because unfortunately we were a couple of pack rats and I used to watch Hoarders just to feel better. You know what I mean? Just say, okay, I'm not that bad. I've got a path in my house. I'm good. So my husband used to say, I used to tell him, oh, if I die before you, all of this is yours. And he would say, nope, there's going to be a hell of a bonfire in the backyard, so I'm not keeping any of it. So he got the last laugh and left me with all of it. So in my house, there will be no holiday celebrations. I have friends and things if I want to plug into anything. I've had, plenty of invitations and, my girlfriend up the street, her house is like winter wonderland every season. So if I want to go and get a dose of that, I'll be fine with it. So, but actually in my house, it's just me and my 5 animals, which were our children. And that's what it will be. So.
But you will not be having the bonfire though.
I will not have the bonfire. I'm going to have probably some mega yard sales coming up pretty soon. For garage sales. We don't have yards in Vegas. We have to do everything in the driveway, outside of the garage. But what I'm thankful for is I am thankful that I had him for 12 years. He was my hero. He was a U.S. Army disabled combat veteran. He served Afghanistan. He was a fireman, a police officer, search and rescue diver, all of that. He survived all of that to be wiped out by a stupid cold on steroids. So it's not our plan, it's God's plan. And I'm thankful that we had our time. I'm thankful for the community that I'm in. I'm thankful for my network marketing family, my friends, and just, I believe me, I'm very thankful for the Send Out Cards because that's the reason I have, pictures of him everywhere. Him and the little dog. That's his baby. So I have pictures of him everywhere I look in the house. And, so I'm thankful for my faith in my community and you guys. And thank you for having me on here.
Thank you for coming on. And I know Send Out Cards, it's a pretty tight knit, national and now international community. And it's definitely something we're going to delve into more this year. I think we have joined Send Out Cards at some point under someone. Twice we've joined.
Twice. Well, you haven't talked to the right person yet.
Maybe that's it.
But it's you know, it's different. You have a different format right now, because when I used to plug in, didn't you have like different people like chiming in on the chat, and it would just be like the panelists? Is this different now?
We're not using the lounge. It wasn't working out for us, but we will have a new incarnation of the lounge coming up, probably after the holidays. We did some tests with a couple new products from our partner Hio, and they weren't quite ready for us. We're sort of perfectionists when it comes to the networking portion of it, but we have plenty of time, lots of time to delve more into that.
I have had Hio, how do you say it? Hio on my phone off and on, and I've never gotten it to, unfortunately. I want to plug into it because I love apps, obviously.
Now it's on the computer and much easier to use.
Okay.
So basically what we found as users of Hio is most people over the age of 30 do not want to hold a phone in their hand for 2 hours. It's not bingo. And
see, that's why I have a nice little contraption here called a ring light with a phone holder. So that usually is, well, not right now, I don't have it, but it's usually propped up. And how I used to participate.
It's a small screen for most of us. I mean, if I'm looking at my phone, I want my phone like here, not over here. But thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Adam, so I'm glad you came back on. So you came back on to participate in the question, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so here is the question. What are you thankful for this Thanksgiving season? And what new traditions are you going to be having this Thanksgiving, if any?
So I'm thankful for a group of people that I've been associated with that have helped me to live my life with an open mind. As somebody who was a devoted bachelor this year, I'm now married. As somebody who lived on the beach, I now live in Canada. And it's just been an amazing, open-minded adventure to live life as it flows. So I'm just thankful for the people that are around me, including these great people from Rockstar, both local in South Florida and here on the group.
And any new Canadian traditions? Are you going to celebrate a Thanksgiving there, or do they not? They have it a different day.
So there's not the Thanksgiving here is already passed. It's not what we have. So on Thanksgiving week, I'll be visiting 5 or 6 different celebrations around the country. So I'll come as a digital guest. But my new tradition this year is, for the first time ever, I'm going to have a Christmas tree. So my wife and her children celebrate Christmas that way every year, and it'll be my first Christmas tree ever. So that's my new holiday tradition.
I had my first one 6 years ago. And it went over pretty well. It went over well with my parents at that time, which is interesting because when I was first married and we moved to North Carolina, my wife at the time and I had decided we would celebrate Christmas in North Carolina, a very secular version of it. More so our daughter would not be the one at the elementary school telling everyone there's no such thing as Santa.
Okay.
We did not want her to be that kid. But my father, he flipped out at the time, but he's mellowed with age, or become forgetful and doesn't remember that now, and comes and watches the kids open up their Christmas gifts. We did get notified by our youngest this week that she does not believe in Santa Claus. So that was a little rough for us, and we got to figure out how we're going to work that into that tradition. I said, well, I don't know. People who don't believe in Santa Claus may not get gifts. I don't know.
I still believe in Santa Claus, and finally have a fireplace where I can hang my stockings. So I'm excited about that. My tradition of volunteering every Christmas morning will go away. So that I can be with my new children, and they absolutely believe in Santa Claus. And who knows, maybe this will grow out enough in the next month that I can play that role.
I think Adam, you live in a place. Oh, sorry, Steve. I was just going to say, you now live in a place where they have reindeer, which Which would bring you to the new Thanksgiving tradition dish, which is a goose stuffed inside of a beaver, stuffed inside of a reindeer, stuffed inside of a moose.
And then a camel. It's great. That's I think the new great American tradition is that we can enjoy other people's holidays, probably more so than any time in our history. I think Diwali was just last week.
Saturday.
That was Saturday.
Yep.
I wish I had enjoyed some Indian cuisine that day to celebrate that.
Some color.
And well, I don't know. I don't like to get messy, so I don't know if I want to throw any color around. I don't like messy.
Jenny and her family were over on Saturday evening, and our whole neighborhood was lit up with fireworks, and her kids were really excited to get to see that.
Yeah, I guess you definitely see more of that out, in your area.
RTP, yes.
Not so much inside the Beltline.
No.
Not a big Diwali crowd inside the Beltline in Raleigh. Jenny.
Yes, sir.
What are you thankful for, and what are your new traditions going to be?
Well, I'm gonna. So typically, we will be getting on the road on Saturday. Go spend a few days with my parents. Head up north. Spend it with my in-laws for the Thanksgiving holiday. Come back because they're in Syracuse. My parents are in DC. So we start in DC. We spend like 2-3 days there. Go up to Syracuse. Come back, spend another 2-3 days in DC. My husband usually goes home. I usually hang out for a few more days because typically Nicholas is tracked out. And so we have that's our last week of track out vacation, and we spend it with the grandparents. And so this year is completely different. We will be decorating. My husband promised all out decorating for the entire leading up to Christmas and Hanukkah first and then Christmas. So we're adding to all of the decoration stash. We are finally going to be here one year to do a Friendsgiving, which we're super excited about. Normally it's just we go when we're in Syracuse, we gather at our friend's bar the Friday night, and that's our friend, everybody kind of packs in on Friday night. It's going to be all new traditions. We're having turducken, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's all just kind of, we're just rolling with it. We're probably gonna have a couple interlopers on Thanksgiving, people who don't have families to go to, that my husband's do you think we could invite? Whatever, you're cooking.
Well, I was asked by my father not to invite any interlopers. They've been very serious as of late. So who's the Hanukkah celebrator in your family?
That's me.
I thought so. I thought I had that radar going up there.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No.
What was it like when you had your first Christmas tree? It was fun, wasn't it? Exciting. I went to Jewish day school. I taught Hebrew school. I taught Sunday school. We're so much in common. I've done all that stuff. Yeah.
I did all the things. We never had, my neighbors had Christmas. And they, we would be invited at some point to go over, and they had this really cool, they had the setup under the tree that they had a train that went around, and on a mirrored base with all the fake snow, and it was the coolest thing. When I was 6, I thought it was the coolest thing. And I remember the first time I met Santa, because there was a Santa going around the neighborhood, and I think I was 4 or 5, and they came in, and I knew that Santa wasn't real, but I was that kid that knew not to tell anybody that Santa wasn't real. And my mom said that still I was in awe that oh, well, maybe he is real. Maybe, I don't know. But so the first Christmas tree I had was actually as an adult, when it was this little, I still have it. It was this little 3, it has this base and it has these 3 trees, and I got mini ornaments, and I felt so excited and guilty at the same time, right? That I was falling into that area that my mother was highly disappointed in me.
My father sent me the nastiest letter.
Oh my God, yeah. And
my father is the Santa Claus in his community.
Which, you know, it's so my dad has dressed up as Santa before too, when my brother and sister were little. But like, the funny part is like now we joke that my husband's a better Jew than all of us. He always knows when the holidays are. He always knows what night of Hanukkah it is. He always is like on top of things, and the rest of us are like, what? What's happening?
He's like, more presents and more food. What could be wrong with that? I'm going to make sure that we have these extra holidays.
Right,
I
but we
think this year
do.
we could all definitely use some more holidays.
Absolutely, yeah. And we don't do gifts for Hanukkah. My mom sends the kids gifts for Hanukkah, but we do books or acts of service. So like, if they don't get a book to open, then we do an act of service. So they'll go clean up trash, or go like visit somebody.
Gifts over 8 days, you end up with like socks and underwear and Scotch tape and.
Yeah. So my mom always sends them stuff. So this year, we're just doing it all different. Usually my parents have this like great Hanukkah party that we'll go back for. Like everybody comes and we have a piñata and we have like all this, like it's super, like we make gingerbread houses and we have a piñata.
Hanukkah piñata.
Don't give it that look, Domenic. It's fantastically fun. We are multicultural. And it's we do what's fun, but so we're gonna be missing that this year. Everybody gets their own menorah and everybody gets to light it. But did you see this year the guys that make the Mensch on a Bench also have the mitzvah moose and the dancing bubby?
The Mensch on a Bench, is that like Elf on a Shelf?
No, yes, but no. You don't have to move the Mensch. The Mensch just stays put. There's also Maccabee on the Mantle. We have both Mensch on a Bench and Maccabee on the Mantle.
So if you want to see the best Hanukkah decorations in the Triangle, if you want to show your kids, you go down to North Raleigh, Durant Road, and Deerland Grove, and then drive to the end of Deerland Grove, and they have a massive Hanukkah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll head up there.
And they have their own radio station, and they play Hanukkah songs.
Fantastic. No, we'll totally head up there. Yeah. But yeah, I saw the mitzvah moose has lights on the antlers. So you get to light it each night. And then
all these new traditions.
The dancing bubby shakes her booty to Hava Nagila. That's all I'm going to say. Like, go walk through Target and press the hand. And yes, it's fantastic.
Well, I do make latkes from scratch. Those are potato pancakes for people that don't know. On the holiday of Hanukkah, since this is sort of our holiday show, you cook things with oil like donuts. And we're coming back in December, but let people get their traditions prepared ahead of time. And potato pancakes are a very big deal, and it represents the reanointment of the temple in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
So
latkes and sufganiyot, abundant.
Yeah, abundant. And by the way, they do in Israel, Christmas is a very big holiday.
Yes, it is.
Very, very big holiday with Christmas trees and everything else. You wouldn't know it, but they celebrate it as a secular holiday. And also they have a lot of families that are, both Jewish and Christian, or Jewish and Muslim, just like here in the United States.
Yeah.
So, Shaun, you're going to share, thank you, Jenny. Those are some great traditions. And you're a social worker, you taught Jewish education, all the things I did for a number of years. We could be more brother and sister than my brother and I could be brother and brother, sibling-wise. I mean, I think if we went out and we said we were siblings, people would totally believe it.
Right. And I would agree that there's more likeness than me and my brother.
Yeah, so I think from now on, when we go out to events, I say, "Oh, my wife is here, and also my sister's here," and let's see how we can pull that off going forward from now on. Starting tonight in Clayton. So Shaun is, as he explained before, he's been performing for 17 years. I've known him now for at least 8 years, I would say. That's about right. And he's incredible. We're very lucky to have him on the program. And he's created a special illusion to close out today's panel.
Yes, I have, and I get this question asked to me a lot, which is first question, number one question you ask a magician is, how did he do that? So I thought today I'd actually teach you guys exactly how I perform one of my illusions. It's very simple. This is one of the first illusions that you would learn as a magician, so I figure we start small, and this is something that people have seen before. Raise your hand if you've ever seen the trick where a magician takes a newspaper and tears it into pieces and then puts it back together again. Raise your hand. Yes? Some of you? Okay, good, good, good. Well, I'm going to show you that version on a smaller scale using just this napkin. See, you really do tear the napkin, and then you really do smush the pieces into a little ball, and then what you have to do is you have to blow on the pieces, and then when you do, you actually open them up, and it looks like they're right back together into one piece. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how this is done. Now, as some of you might expect, there is more than one napkin. There is another napkin. See, these are the torn pieces of the napkin. You can see they're all kind of bunched up. So we need two napkins. We have, I'm going to show you this. So we have the torn pieces, and then we have the whole napkin. This is what you start off with. You have to hide this in your hand, okay? You have to keep it hidden in a ball like this. So I'm going to start just like this, right? And then what you do is you come out with both of your hands looking exactly the same, and then you really do tear the paper up. And then, but the problem is, what do you do with the pieces? See, first you tear the pieces, then what you have to do is then you have to take the pieces and you have to switch the pieces using a little bit of distraction. See, when I rolled it up into a little ball like this, I held it at my fingertips like this, and then what I did was, as I made the circular motion with my hand, I actually switched the pieces in that motion. They kind of roll around in the hand, and now what you do is you open up and you show the restored napkin, but of course I can't do that because these were already torn. So what do you do if somebody catches you out and they happen to see the extra pieces in your hand? Well, that's when you need to use real magic. All you have to do is take those pieces and just rub them together between your fingers like this. Say the magic words, which are, I hope this works. And you go back in time about 2 minutes to where the pieces were never torn at all. And that's...
But you're not going to show us how to do that part.
That's exactly how it's done. There you go. Now you can fool your family and friends at Thanksgiving.
Jenny, don't do it until Thanksgiving. Don't do it, because I know you want to go do it like right now while it's fresh. Practice, wait until Thanksgiving.
That's right. Practice, practice, practice for 17 years, and you can do it too.
I love how much credit you're giving me that I'm going to be able to pull that off at any time with my tiny hands.
You got this. You got this.
You can do it. Hey guys, everyone, thank you so much. I hope everyone, we're not going to be here next week. We're going to be here the following week on Tuesday, 2 to 4 p.m. Everyone, enjoy your new traditions on Thanksgiving. We have an event tonight in the Triangle. Look it up on rockstarconnect.com. On Thursday night, we have one in Boca Raton, Florida, and another one in downtown Raleigh. So everyone, happy Thanksgiving, and wave goodbye. It was nice spending some extra time with everyone.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Happy holidays.